Welcome to Mercy's Designs. My name is Mercy and I demonstrate Stampin' Up! Products. Today I'm going to talk about this new fundraiser that Stampin' Up! Has to help fund research, etc. for COVID-19. So it's called Give Back, and all proceedings go to fight COVID-19. So here's a little bit of information. It's $12 plus tax. 100% is donated. It benefits the World Health and United Way. So those are just a couple of things. It was very easy to download. It was just this price plus tax, and I was just amazed. We got 15 sheets, 2 pages in the front with instructions. So I decided I am going to do something a little extreme, which was to die cut every single sentiment. Now, you wouldn't have to do this, but it's going to show you exactly what's in the kit and different ways I die cut or punched out all the sentiments. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to do a very, very quick card that's very simple. So stay tuned for that. But this is mostly to walk you through all the sentiments and page by page. So this is the first page, which technically is the third page, because the first 2 pages told you what colors were in it. And I cut it apart. I printed it off just on printer paper and put it at the top of each one. So if you're printing it off, this would be page 3, but technically it's the first page of the sentiment. So I hope that makes sense and clarifies. All right, so the colors they list here, which is very helpful. And I punched them out and put them here. And I die cut using largely the rectangle stitch dies, but I also use layering circles and the stitched shapes dies. Now for this one, so they only said layering circle dies and stitch rectangle dies. So sometimes I varied it quite a bit, sometimes a little bit, but I will try to show you what I did for each page. All right, so fairly cute. Love this. Can't wait to do some cards with all this. And the most important feature I wanted to talk about is how I use packaging tape behind each of these so that I can just use this. So, for example, I can just rip it off and I have the packaging tape and it will hold, and I can reposition it back on if I want, or I can put it right on my card. So this is not a permanent thing. And then the other thing I did was I printed it off and on printer paper and just put it back here. That way, if I use a piece of the die cuts, I know it's missing. So I hope that makes sense. All right, so that's page number 1. I'm gonna just move these over a little and we'll just go page by page. Oh, sorry. All right, so this is page 2. And again, if you're printing it off, you just add 2 numbers to it. So this would become 4. And there's just a lot of cute sentiments here. I used the Stitch So Sweetly dies on this one and this one. And I also, for the punches, I did a lot of different punches. I'm just trying to find my little cheat sheet that I wrote, but I'm not locating it. Okay, so anyhow, but I remember most of them. I used the tailored tag punch here, and that allowed me to make these flags at the end. These were very skinny. Some of the die cuts, it was printed, they print off really, really close together. So you don't have a lot of options that way. Others really well spaced. So I wish they were a little bit better spaced, generally speaking. But overall, I was very happy with most of them. Okay, so that's page number 2. My favorite is I'm smiling under this mask. Okay, so page number 3 is, oh, wait, I got this out of order. Sorry, whoops. I'll get this back in order. Okay, so page number 3 is right here. And this has a lot of cute sentiments. They suggested using the 1.5 inch punch, which would be this one, and that cut that one perfectly. But I felt like it was going to be a little tight for this one, so I used one of the layering circles. So that worked out a little better for me, I felt like. This is the stitch nested label dies, which was one of the things suggested. So I'm looking forward to, you know, using this. My favorite one was You Are Essential to Me. And so you can see how it prints off on the back. Okay, so this is page number 4. And I think this one will be very popular with a lot of people. It's about, you know, kind of drinking here. Have another quarantini. I'm not a drinker, but I can see this would be popular and it's really cute. I did use the stitch shapes to die cut this out. So I think that, you know, that worked out well with that. My favorite sentiment would have to be, let's get together when this is all over. I've heard this a lot and it's really nice. So this is how it prints off in the back. So plenty of room around these, you know, the martini glass. Okay, so page number 5 is right here. And we have a lot of great colors. I like this sort of color layout. A lot of them are oranges and yellows, which I don't know, it's not my favorite, just to be honest. But I like this color combination. All right, so I used the classic label punch, I believe it's called, to die cut this one out. And that allowed me to then layer it, mat it with the stitch label, the smallest one. So I did that. So again, these are going to be super handy because I can, here, let me, some of them, it's not like they come off super easy, but you can see I have tear and tape here, and then I have the packaging tape right here. I don't know if you can see that. I'll bring it up closer so you can hopefully see. And that will just make it super easy. I have it ready to go. I can look at these sheets and then just start making cards because everything's die cutted out. And then this is how it's printed. And generally speaking, I tried to keep with the same order just so that if I use something and want to replace it, that it'll be very easy for me to do that. Okay, so here's page number 6. And this is pretty cool. I like this page. One of the things I wanted to mention is this is an extra long die, and that is the new Ornate. Here, I'm trying to get the Ornate layers dies. It has one that's stitched. Here, I'll bring it in right here. And this is longer than it needs to be, but that doesn't bother me. I wanted the narrow, it's more narrow than the ones that are wide enough, like this one. And because it is printed pretty close together, sometimes it doesn't allow for as much space as you would need. So I hope that makes sense. So I can just add an embellishment or wrap some twine here, whatever. So pretty cool. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is this is the Storybook Label Punch, which they suggested. And it only worked for one, really, because you would have to sacrifice at least one of these because they did not allow enough space to punch these out. And it's pretty tight here. This is tight here too. So I prefer the spacing a little bit more of this quarantine and chill. And I really think that's a cool sentiment. And I do like the stay home and stay safe. So it's hard to say which one's my favorite here. Okay, so this is how it prints off. And you can see this is not enough space because it kind of rolls in too much. So, but, you know, I'm not complaining exactly. This one's another cute one. And this is an example of, you know, the pumpkin pie and the mango melody. They suggest as combinations, which are not my favorite, to be honest. But it looks pretty cool, and I do like how this is, all the colors they chose were pretty gender neutral, which is pretty nice. So they suggested using the Starburst punch, and I layered it with the 2-inch punch, which was not listed here. So just something to give you an idea of how you can dress it up a little very easily, and you know, it's not too bad. It's not too much harder with punches especially. So my favorite one here is, I've been working on my homebody. I do like to stay home, so we stayed home a little too much. And oh, of course, this business on the top and pajamas on the bottom was pretty funny. That is totally my husband. Okay, so page number 8. Here we have another lot of cute sentiments. A lot fit on this page. And I like this. I changed out my pajamas into my day pajamas to send you this card. I thought that was really cute. And think of that as a positive thing. Happy quarantine. Thinking of that as a positive thing. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you print it off. All right, page number 9, or as I like to put 11, because I will probably add this. So when I print it off, I know I need to select 11 if I want to print this page off again. So you can print multiple pages. So if there's a page that you know you're going to use a lot of, you can do 5 or 10 if you want. So it's really cool. The images, especially the printed images, I mean the letter, the sentiments, they print off very well. It wasn't very difficult. So it did take a long time, I'm not going to lie, to die cut all these out. But now it's ready to go. And as I said, I can just take it off and use it. So I wanted to point out here, this is with the rectangle stitch dies, and this is the Stitch So Sweetly. They did allow enough room to do 2 different ones, which I really liked for this. And I think I prefer the Stitch So Sweetly. It just looks a little more fun. So, but I think my favorite is Just Breathe, but Wear Your Mask is one of my favorite of the whole, actually of all the groups. Love that. Okay, so you can see here, a lot of spacing here. That definitely gets high marks from me. Okay, so page number 10 is really cute. I definitely will probably be printing this one off a second time. It says, I'm not sure which one's my favorite, but I do like how you can layer with the heart punch stack set. You can layer this. So I had a few issues with printing here. I don't know if you can see that. It kind of has a little lines through it, but I don't think it's too big of a deal. I had that a few times with some of the images. So I'm not sure if that's a problem with my printer or, it's just a problem in general with these digital printed images. But of course we know that when we stamp, it's not always perfect either. So it's fine. Anyhow, so this is this side. You can see sometimes I had, this would not center. I mean, you could center it and have big gaps. But what I prefer to do is leave a space either on the left or the right. And then I can, again, add an embellishment. So this is what it looks like printed off. It was very easy to cut this up. This is one of the new punches. I lost it with the name right at the second. I'll probably remember it in a little bit, but I think it's called, oh no, I can't think of it, but I'll list it in the description. But I layered it, meaning I cut apart one, when you cut it, the punch, I separated it, cut it in half, and then pulled it apart so it's layered and matted look. And it's not that hard, and it really dresses it up. So with the punches, I did matte most of them because I think it was just easy to do and quick. So, but I didn't do it for the die cuts for the most part. All right, so that's how it prints off. All right, we're now on page number 12. We're almost through this. Stay around. So this page would be great if you are making a bunch of cards for people that are nurses or in some type of essential business. So I really like these. I wish I had this a couple weeks ago when we were making, I made about 100 thank you cards for nursing home staff. So this would have been great then. Really cute sentiments. I did punch this out with the 1 1/4 inch punch, 1 1/8. No, it was, yeah, 1 1/8. And then I die cut, I punched it with 1 3/8 scalloped punch. So sometimes I don't have the 1 1/8 scallop punch. So I varied it, you know, from what they suggested. Now they suggested using the Starburst punch, and I'm not sure where you would use the Starburst punch. I don't know if that was a misprint or not, but it doesn't make sense to me. And you can see a lot of great ones if you're making, you know, for thank you notes for service people. Okay, page 11. We're now on page 11. And this one I really liked as well. Love the colors. I like this combination. Red is not one of them, but I used it for the hearts. I don't care. I do whatever I want in the end, and that's what Stampin' Up! Wants, I think, anyway. So I like this sending love and paper hugs. That one's super cute. They have that on the front of their featured picture. Let's see, right here. And they use the stitch so sweetly. But if you do that, you will sacrifice some of them. You know, you will cut into one of them. So just, that's one of the downsides. Of course, if you're stamping, it would be a little different. All right, so this one again was the Ornate layered die I used. It's a little too long, but again, I'll embellish at the end. So this is this side. My favorite would be sending love and paper hugs. Okay, page number 13. Here we have a lot of cute ones. Again, there's no place like home for now. I think that one's really cute. Sending love and support. They're all really cute. They did not suggest this punch, but I used it. It's the everyday label punch. See, it's helpful if I write it down. I started doing that towards the end, but it was not even suggested, but it worked really, really well. They suggested the timeless label punch. So just something to, you know, give you an idea if you have that punch that works well. Okay, so page number 14. Here's another lot of hearts. This one, I don't know, they really stuffed it full, so I wasn't able to put the little circles of the colors, but it's listed here and it's sort of the same scheme. So there's nobody I'd rather stay home for. I think that's really nice, especially if you know someone that's a high risk. That would be a nice one to send a card to. So this is what it looks like on this side. And then our final page, and then I will start the card. Okay, so this one was the bear to die cut. It was so packed in that I had to die cut twice because I ran out of room. Here, I'm just going to try to show you what I'm saying. I had to run it through the die cutting machine twice. So I'm trying to find the right one. Okay, so here's the one that would fit. But as you can see, this one's smaller, so I had to run it through 2 times, shift it, and that doesn't go super well. It's easier to die cut and shift like this than to do lower and higher, if that makes sense. So that was a bit of a pain. I did have to, for this Share Sunshine, I did have to run it through, but it wasn't as bad 2 times to get that. I think that'll be cute to add to cards, but this page was definitely a bear. Not happy. I just ran my tape in the back in a straight line here, so I was doing different time-saving things by the end. It was a lot of work, and this is the page how it looks. You can see it's just packed, jam-packed. So I'm going to pause and then set up for my card. All right, I'm back. As you can see, so this is paper from A Silhouette, and if you're trying to use up your DSP before the new stuff comes out, this is a great way. So it's going to be a super fast card. Now the stamp set I'm using is Dandelion Wishes. So what I'm going to do is bring in my Stamparatus, and we will because I want to be able to stamp this several times. So I've already lined it up. I like making these L's just so I'm not stamping in the corner, although technically this wouldn't be, but it would be towards the hinge. Now the hinge can cause problems when you're stamping. It doesn't stamp too well. So I'm just gonna do this, ink this up off camera. All right, and then I'm just gonna stamp. So I know that it will be in the same spot every time. Now, I would recommend putting the magnet down. I forgot to do that, but I think we're gonna be okay. So I'm just going to ink this up and stamp it a couple times because I want it really nice and dark. Now, I'm just going to mostly focus on this area. And it's pretty dark now, but I'm going to do one more time just to be sure, because it will, with such a background, it is a little harder and you almost can't get it too dark. I thought about embossing, but I didn't want to have the paper warp, which would happen a little bit. So that was my biggest concern with that technique. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and layer this real quick with a layer. This, by the way, is 5 inches by 3 3/4, and I am putting it on a layer 5 1/4 by 4 inches. So it just mats on. Now, this is what I'm talking about here. I have this sheet, and I'm just going to pick one from here. So I'm just going to take this orange one and take it off. So you can see I have the tape in the background here, the packaging tape, and I have a little bit of the Terran tape here. So I'm just gonna kind of ignore that. Now I wouldn't necessarily have to ignore it, but I am going to because I wanna go ahead and pop this up. It can be part of your adhesive, but if you don't need it, it doesn't really matter. It'll be fine. It'll be hidden, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to pop a couple dimensionals on here and put this, layer it onto our black layer. So with the rectangle dies, they have a skinnier set, and this is the largest of the skinnier set and then the second. So it layers perfectly. Okay, so cute so far. I'm just going to add a little glue. And we're going to be set. So super quick, easy card. I'm going to be making more cards using this this Sunshine, Share Sunshine digital downloads, and I will be hopefully sharing that. So now I'm going to take my Mango Melody layer and just add it, and then put this here. So, okay, so when I open, when I open the card up, I don't want to leave it blank like that. So I have a Whisper White scrap here, and a piece of paper, the usual size, the 4 inches by 5 1/4, excuse me. And I'm just going to take this scrap and add it to the bottom to dress it up. So you can see that was the reverse side. So it just adds a little nice touch. Then what I want to do is I want to bring in another one of my labels here and add it here. So I'm really all here, just socially distant. I think I'll use that one. So again, I just pull it off. Now, with the Terran tape, if you're concerned about how it's hard to wiggle in place, you can just add the glue, liquid glue right over it. Now, normally I just stamp directly inside a card, but I have found that, if I've made a, stamp crooked, I can put a die cut over. Now, I would not recommend popping it up with a dimensional. So we're just going to quickly add a little glue and pop this in here. And isn't that cute? It'll be perfect. So it'll be a nice little card to send to someone, letting them know you're thinking of them. And I think it's just super cute and easy. So again, look for more videos I will have for the Share Sunshine. And then the one final thing I wanted to talk about again, was I wanted to show what I was talking about here with this die cut. I'm going to back up a little bit. I was saying there wasn't space, and so I thought maybe it would be more interesting if you actually saw a demonstration how this would not work, how you would have waste. So can you see how it would overlap? You would not be able to successfully do it. So they should have spaced it a little better, in my opinion. So that's why using this punch was not too successful for me. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please stay tuned, come back and see more cards using these digital downloads. I think it's wonderful. Stampin' Up! Is doing this. If you have any questions about ordering, I'd be happy to help you with that. My email is mewants3@gmail.com, and I will be happy to respond to you, or you can leave a message below. Let me know what you think of this card idea and these digital downloads. Happy stamping!